Now, when we're born, we come in with basically a blank slate, except for just a couple of things are like pre-programmed. So fight, flight, they're part of our basic operating system. Freeze. So we come in with a basic operating system of just fight, flight, and freeze. Then as we grow, we start having experiences. Some experiences are good and happy. We'll call that a positive association. Some are negative in some way, not really a happy experience. And so we continue to grow, have some positive experiences, some negative experiences along the way. And then around the age of 8, something forms that we call the critical factor. Before the age of 8, basically all of our experiences, or literally all of our experiences, were just wide open. This area that after the critical factor is formed, we call the subconscious mind. We're just basically walking around with just one mind. It's just all wide open. Basically everything that happens to us, we just assume is right and true, whether it's a negative or positive association. Once the critical factor is formed, then we have the subconscious mind with its known associations. These are the known associations. Now, as way of an example, let's say Bob, and Bob's around 3 or 4, and I'm just making up an age, but let's say Bob is like 3, and he meets a cat. He has a great experience with the cat. Cats are soft, cats are fluffy, cats are friendly and furry and warm, and they purr. That's wonderful. Now, when Bob grows older, he may or may not remember that experience with the cat, but he carries with him the known association of that experience. So whenever he sees a cat, he feels good about it. Cats are nice, cats are fluffy, cats are friendly. Now, let's say, for example, it happens differently. Let's say Bob is sitting down in the grass outside, and the kitty cat comes over, and Bob reaches out, pets the cat, and everything's fine. And then Bob shifts a little bit and accidentally gets the cat's claw under his leg, and the cat reacts and reaches out and scratches Bob. That was shocking. That was a surprise, and that was painful. Bob's association about cats can become, in that moment, a negative association that will carry through the rest of his life, unless something happens to change it. Now, when Bob is older, Bob sees a cat. Bob has a sense of unease. He may not remember what happened back when he was 3, but on a deeper subconscious level, he remembers cats equal pain. And so whenever Bob is around a cat, he feels very uncomfortable. One day when Bob is older, he meets a girl, and they decide to move in together. There's a problem, though. His girlfriend has a cat. Bob is not comfortable around cats. He has long ago forgotten what happened. Long ago. He doesn't even know why. He just knows he doesn't like cats. He hates cats. He cannot stand cats. He doesn't feel good around them. He doesn't want to be around them. And as far as he's concerned, a world without cats would be a better place. But he really wants to move in with his girlfriend. This is a problem. Now, as I mentioned, around the age of 8, the critical factor is formed. What happens when Bob's girlfriend says, get over it? Cats are soft, cats are fluffy, cats are friendly, cats are nice. That information comes and bounces. It just bounces off that gate, that critical factor. Because Bob knows on a deep level, cats are dangerous. Cats cause pain. Cats are not good. And Bob does not feel good around cats. But his girlfriend said, hey, cats are wonderful. Cats are nice. Cats are soft. Cats are fluffy. Now, Bob would really like not to feel what he feels around cats, because this is a problem. Bob does not know what to do about this. You see, once this critical factor is formed and the subconscious becomes a thing, it's estimated approximately 88% of the mind is the subconscious, while only 12% of the mind is the conscious mind, where the reasoning, the analysis, the logic, decision-making, willpower, they all take place up in here, in that 12%. And that's where the idea that Bob has about getting somehow past his discomfort with cats, that's where that's living. And it's only 12%, so no matter how hard Bob is trying, it's not working. It's just not working. Because his known association with cats is very negative. And we already know, because it doesn't relate to what Bob has in his subconscious mind. Anytime the new information tries to go in, it just doesn't have a prayer of getting anywhere constructive. So what's Bob going to do? Well, admittedly, he could grit his teeth and just try to move through the experience as well as he could. But that's not going to feel good, and that's going to cause other issues more likely than not. So one day, Bob hears something about something called hypnosis. Well, what is hypnosis? And can it help? Well, it turns out it can, because my job is to work with the 88%, while Bob's job is to work with the 12%. Using the tool of hypnosis, we can and do open up a little doorway, basically getting the critical factor to look in a different direction for a little while, just to maybe go take a walk, whatever. So we can come in and change a negative association, which once upon a time made sense. Remember, the subconscious mind, its job is to protect Bob. That's what it's doing. it's doing its best to protect Bob. Once upon a time, Bob had an experience with a cat, and that cat caused pain. And the subconscious mind said, hey, cats equal pain. We're going to protect Bob. So in the future, anytime Bob was around a cat or even thought of a cat, it was a very unpleasant experience. And that's the subconscious mind attempting to protect Bob. But that no longer serves a purpose. As a matter of fact, it's getting in the way of Bob's life. It's getting in the way of Bob's happiness. And this could happen with anything. For example, a child laughed at while giving a book report in class, whatever. It hits him just the right way. And then boom, fear of public speaking. So on and so forth with just about anything you can think of. And so what we do when we get that critical factor, that gate, that whatever you want to call it, that guard, that guardian of the gate, to take a walk and look the other way, we can then basically show the subconscious mind the error of its ways and get it to understand that it is now not in a space of protecting Bob, it's in a space of hurting Bob, which is exactly the opposite of what its intention is. So when we help the subconscious mind, using the tool of hypnosis, to understand the error of its ways, we can then turn a negative association into a positive association. And in a nutshell, that is what we call the theory of mind. And this is how we can help you. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day.